us to order.
Director Bender? Director Bender?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, we got you.
Can you hear me on your end?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, we're doing roll call. Director Bender?
Here.
Director Beitman?
Here.
Director Orsini?
Here.
Director Mayo?
Present.
And Vice President Couch?
Here.
And I would like to point out that Director Bender and Director Mayo are participating under Government Code 54953, the telecommunication rules of the Brown Act. Gentlemen, can you confirm there's no one over the age of 18 in the room with you?
Correct.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Greg, you want to lead us in the pledge? Sure.
Ready? Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Item 3, additions or changes to the agenda. Items may be added to the agenda in accordance with section 54954.2B of the Government Code Brown Act upon a determination of 2/3 of the members of the legislative body present at the time of the meeting. Less than 2/3 of the members are present. The unanimous vote of those members present that there is need to take immediate action and that the need for action came to the attention of McKinleyville Community Services after the agenda was posted. Do you have any changes?
We have no additions or changes to the agenda.
Thank you. I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move.
Second.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Director Bender?
Here.
Director Beitman?
Yes.
Director Mayo?
Yes.
Director Orsini?
Yes.
Vice President Couch?
Yes. All right. 5, closed session discussion. I'm going to skip most of the verbiage because there is no closed session scheduled for tonight. So we'll jump to the public hearing. These are items of a quasi-judicial or legislative nature. Public comments relevant to these proceedings are invited. And tonight we have conduct public hearing for the annual levy of assessments fiscal year 26-27 for the Measure B Maintenance Assessment District renewal for parks, open space, and recreational facilities. Consider adopting resolution 2026-16, amending or approving the final engineer's annual levy report for the Measure B Maintenance Assessment District renewal for parks, open space, and recreational facilities for fiscal year 26-27. Consider adopting resolution 2026-17, ordering the levy and collection of assessments within the Measure B Maintenance Assessments District renewal for parks, open space, and recreational facilities for fiscal year 25-26. So, okay, yes, Samantha.
Thank you. Staff recommends that the board open the public hearing.
Oh, that's right. We have to open the public hearing. Now presentation by Sarah.
In 1992, McKinleyville voters approved the Measure B Assessment District with a 20-year duration for the purpose of funding the development and maintenance of public recreation facilities, including the McKinleyville Activity Center, Azalea Hall, and Hiller Sports Site. The board authorized collection of the assessments in each year beginning in fiscal year 1992-93. In 2011, a property owner protest ballot proceeding was conducted pursuant to the provisions of the California Constitution, Article 13B, for the levy of annual assessments of the Measure B Maintenance Assessment District renewal for parks, open space, and recreational facilities, which replaced and extended for another 20-year duration the assessments previously approved by voters in 1992. The proposed assessments were approved by the property owners, 55.9% in favor, 45.1% opposed, and the new assessments were levied on the Humboldt County tax rolls for fiscal year 2011-2012. In November 2023, a property owner protest ballot proceeding was conducted pursuant to the provisions of the California Constitution, Article 13D, for the levy of annual assessments of the Measure B Maintenance Assessment District renewal for parks, open space, and recreational facilities, which replaced the assessments previously approved by voters in 1992 and 2011. The property owners voted to, 1, reestablish the Measure B assessment renewal until ended by voters, and 2, increase the maximum assessment rate, and 3, add in an annual cost of living adjustment to the maximum assessment rate. 63.3% in favor, 36.7% opposed, and the new assessments were levied on the Humboldt County tax rolls for fiscal year 2024-2025. In accordance with the provisions of the Landscaping and Lighting Act of 1972 of the California Streets and Highway Code, the 1972 Act, in order to levy the assessments each fiscal year, an engineer's report, attachment 3, must be prepared and filed with the board regarding the proposed assessments, and the board must conduct a noticed public hearing regarding these matters prior to approving and adopting the assessments for the upcoming fiscal year. On April 1st, 2026, the board adopted Resolution 2026-11, which initiated the annual levy process and preparation of the engineer's report, and Resolution 2026-12, which declared the board's intention to levy the assessments for fiscal year 26-27 and set May 6, 2026 as the date for the public hearing. In accordance with Chapter 3, Section 22626 of the 1972 Act, notice of the public hearing shall be given by causing such notice to be published one time in a newspaper of general circulation at least 10 days prior to the date of hearing, pursuant to Chapter 1, Article 3, Section 22552 and 22553 of the Act, Attachment 4. The fiscal analysis. The fiscal year 2026-27 draft engineer's report anticipates 5,801 parcels or 7,650 equivalent benefit units to be applied to the county tax roll for Measure B collections within the assessment district that benefit from the improvements, with a proposed assessment rate of $99.14 per EBU, a 3.14% increase compared to 25-26. The assessment revenue to be levied and collected on the tax rolls will be approximately $758,421. This assessment revenue represents approximately 30% of the total estimated $2.5 million budgeted expenditures for fiscal year 26-27 to fund the operations, development, and maintenance of MCSD's parks and recreation facility. Staff recommends that the board discuss, open for public testimony, and consider any public input and written protests, close the public hearing, and then staff recommends the board adopt Resolution 2026-16 and 2026-17, approving the annual engineer's report for fiscal year 26-27 and ordering the levy and collection of assessments with the McKinleyville Community Service District, Measure B Assessment District. That is all.
So we'll have board discussion. Any board discussion on the item? I'm gonna say I hate it when I have to pay it, but Measure B sure puts a lot into our Parks and Recreation Department, and people, I think that's one of the favorite things that NCSD does, so I have to pay it every year with my tax bill. I kind of wink and go, okay, that's a good thing. I'm good.
Through the chair, may I ask Director
Certainly.
Couch to get up against his microphone, please?
Nope. Sorry. Scott or Dennis, do you have anything to add, or?
No, we're good with it. Thank you.
All right, so now we will open this for public comment. Do we have any public comment on the item? Anyone online raising their hand? Nope, okay. Well, then we will close public comment, and we will close the public hearing, and I'm looking for a motion now.
I'll move per staff recommendation. I'll second the motion.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. We have a roll call.
Director Bender,
Yes.
Director Beitman,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Yes, Dennis. Yes.
Director Orsini,
Yes.
and Vice President Couch.
Yes. All right, well, I guess we're done with that then. So let's see. We have public comment, I believe. Public comment, written in communications. Any person may address the board at this time upon any subject not identified on this agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the McKinleyville Community Services District. However, any matter that requires action will be referred to staff for a report of action at a subsequent committee or board meeting. As to matters on the agenda, an opportunity will be given to address the board when the matter is considered. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Letters should be used for complex issues. Do we have any public comment, written communications? Okay, having none, we will move on to the consent calendar. Consent calendar items are expected to be routine and non-controversial to be acted upon by the board of directors at one time without discussion. If any board member, staff member, or interested person requests that an item be removed from the consent calendar, it shall be removed so that it may act on separately. So do we have anything to remove?
Yeah, I'd like to remove, item number 9 from the consent calendar.
Okay.
And my reason for that is I would like to recuse myself, when that item is being, considered.
Okay. So, do we make a motion for the rest of it, or?
I'll second that as long as it's 1 through 9, 1 through 8.
With the exclusion.
Okay.
Okay, can I get a roll call?
Director Bender,
Yes.
Director Beitman, Director Mayo,
Yes.
Director Orsini,
Yes.
Vice President Couch.
Yes. Okay, so do we want to go back to item 9 or?
Through the chair, I have a question for staff on this.
Sure.
If I recuse myself for this, will this item still be able to pass? Without,
Yes,
okay,
so,
between Dennis and Scott and,
yeah, so they are legitimately on district business, so they can vote, so we have quorum.
okay,
without-
so we do have a quorum with
Yeah.
them. We just have to have 3 people present here to.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. And my reason for this, I just want to clarify with the staff and the public. I have no financial interest, or I have no financial gain from anything that happens with the Life Plan Humboldt, but I just thought for propriety reasons, I would recuse myself on this item.
So do you want me to read through the staff note?
Yes, please.
Life Plan Humboldt will be a nonprofit, resident-led senior aging in place community in Humboldt County, providing a continuum of services in a safe, secure, and environmentally responsible setting that supports independence, socialization, personal growth, community involvement, and intellectual stimulations. As the board may be aware, their project, Humboldt Commons, will be constructed on a 14.6 acre parcel off of Hiller Avenue in McKinleyville. Humboldt Commons will include approximately 109 independent living homes, including apartments and cottages. The community is expected to include roughly a 60-40 mix of apartments and cottages. Construction is anticipated to start in 2027 and be completed in 2029. The head of Life Plan Humboldt, President Ann Lindsay, MD, has requested the district support their application for $150,000 to the Simpson Family Fund grant that will assist in funding the construction of the sidewalks and bike trail along the property's frontage on Hiller Road. So staff recommends that the board review the information provided and direct the general manager to authorize Life Plan Humboldt to list McKinleyville Community Services District as a supporter on their application for the Simpson Family Fund grant.
Thank you, Pat. Do we have any discussion?
I'd like, if you don't mind, I'd like a real quick explanation as to
what is the Simpson Family Fund and what is the role of MCSD with regard to that fund?
So Simpson Family Fund is a nonprofit created by the Simpson family to fund various and sundry other nonprofit items. MCSD has absolutely no role in the administration, awarding any of the funding or anything like that. And so we would just be listed as a supporter of their grant application.
And we do not have any administrative role with regard to the fund?
No, not at all.
Okay.
We have other board members who want to comment or? Seeing none, I was gonna say, for those who don't know, the Simpson Family Fund, Green Diamond used to be Simpson, and Simpson Family Fund, there's people that started that one. So that's my understanding where it came from, and I used to live up in southeastern Washington where Simpson was a big deal. Bigger than here. Oh, let's see. We need roll call.
Need a motion?
A motion. Would you like to make a motion?
I'll move
sir?
that we support the Lifeline Humboldt application for Simpson's Family Fund Grant.
Thank you. Can we get a second from one of our remote, or can I do a second, Mr. Board? Or-
Second.
There we go. All right, do we have any discussion, public discussion? Okay, let's do the roll call.
Director Bender,
Yes.
Director Beitman,
Yes.
Director Mayo.
Yeah.
Vice President Couch,
Yes,
Through the chair, could I make a quick comment?
certainly.
Although there are enough of us here to make seconds, it is totally applicable for the chair to make a second if that's the will of the,
Thanks. I wasn't sure. Thank you for that parliamentary update. All right. Well, now we get to move to continue and new business, and we have a consider adoption of resolution 2026-18, recognize, honoring, and thanking Eric Jones for his 20 years of service upon his retirement. Leslie is jumping in.
Okay. So Eric Jones is retiring from the district effective May 18th, 2026. And we would like to honor him for his dedication, commitment, and service to the district. Eric was hired as a maintenance worker in June of 2002. After showing his good work ethic and dedication, he was quickly promoted to Utility 1 worker in April of 2003. From there, he accrued all certifications required to move up to Utility 2 worker in 2006. Eric worked in that position for 8 years until he was promoted to the lead person and has held that position up until now. Attached for the Board of Directors review is Resolution 2026-18, recognizing, honoring, and thanking Eric Jones for his 23+ years of service. Please join us in presenting Eric Jones with the resolution, which staff would like to read into the record, and join us in acknowledging his outstanding service to McKinleyville Community Services District. The district would like to thank Eric for the 23+ years of dedicated service he provided for the McKinleyville Community Services District and wish him well on his retirement. And with that, I shall read the resolution. Resolution 2026-18, a resolution recognizing, honoring, and commending and thanking Eric Jones on the advent of his retirement for serving McKinleyville Community Services District for over 23 continuous years. Whereas Eric Jones, having faithfully served over 23 continuous years as an employee of the McKinleyville Community Services District from June 3rd, 2002 to May 18th, 2026. And whereas throughout his years of service, Eric has demonstrated unwavering loyalty, commitment, and dedication to the district and community of McKinleyville. And whereas Eric lends his talents, experience, and leadership to the development and service of the district, having served in a variety of positions such as maintenance person, utility person, backhoe operator, treatment plant operator, backflow prevention tester, and lastly, as the lead person. And whereas Eric has trained staff on DCV testing, equipment operation, woodworking, roofing, fence building, the SCADA system, troubleshooting, and Class B driving test preparation. And whereas Eric's versatile skills has benefited the district in many ways, such as troubleshooting station failures, fabricating parts, supervising a crew, and overseeing the miscellaneous projects such as the construction of the teen center, the pavilion, the library expansion, and the North Bank pump awning, which have resulted in significant cost savings to the district. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the McKinleyville Community Services District hereby confers upon Eric Jones its highest commendation for the dedicated service he has performed for the district and the community, and further marks his historic accomplishment as a McKinleyville Community Services District employee for over 23 continuous years, and acknowledging that he will be impossible to replace and wishes him nothing but good things in his retirement. Staff recommends that the board consider adoption of Resolution 2026-18, honoring Eric Jones for his 23 years of service to the McKinleyville Community Services District and the community of McKinleyville.
Well, thank you, Leslie. Do we have any board discussion? I was going to also open it up to the public after the board, in case anybody wants to roast him.
Yeah, I'll take that. Hey, Eric, how's it going? Yeah, so I have known Eric for a long time. Worked with him until I retired. Found him to be a very solid person.
Speak up, Greg.
Found him to be turn up your hearing aid. Found him to be a very solid person and always able to do whatever was asked of him, without any guff or anything like that. He was always willing to do it. I remember I was thinking back to projects and stuff like that, because when you got hired on, I was already lead man. And but we did work quite a bit together when we built the pole barn for where they parked the VACCON. And that was I learned a lot about Eric during that period of time. He worked from the very beginning of that project until we finished that project up. And he was just a jack of all trades, and was very skilled at helping us. I think, was that the first pole barn you'd ever put up? Yeah. So anyway, we did an awesome job on that. He did a great job on that. And I watched Eric, because of his ability to never say I can't do that, make his way up through the ranks until he made it to lead man. And so we definitely, you're a resource that is going to be hard to replace. And I would just want to thank you very much from the bottom of my heart, and also for the community, for everything that you've done for McKinleyville Community Services District.
Eric, I don't have the good fortune of having gotten to know you, and I regard that as a shortcoming, I guess. But I want to say this: 23 years of dedicated service and leaving behind many things that people can look at and say, "Oh, gee, the reason we have this because of Eric and the work that he did." There's tremendous value in that as we reach the ends of our career or employment, which I did a few years ago. The good feeling is to be able to look back on it and say, this wouldn't have existed if it hadn't have been for my work and my effort. And it's something to be proud of and to, I don't know, carry that pride on for the rest of your life. So, congratulations, and I wish you the very, very best in your retirement.
Any other guys want to comment?
Well, I'm going to comment, but I was waiting for you, David.
Oh, well, I was just going to say congratulations. Thanks, Eric, for all that you've done for MCSD. I kind of, think of you as the face of the district sometime, maybe the beard of the district sometimes, but I'm gonna compete with you for that. But anyway, congratulations, and retirement is good. Let me tell you, after being retired for 2 years now. Bye-bye.
Hey, you were at the board just prior to me, a little bit more than prior, but I think mostly before that, we interacted on irrigation pipe down on what used to be my horse pasture, but now it's this silly thing called a soccer and baseball field. And it was nice coming on with you here because you were pretty kind to me on helping kind of figure out where some things were and stuff. So I really appreciate that. And it's been amazing to watch you grow through the years. And love you, brother. Coffee's on me next time.
Okay, Eric, thank you for your service. 23 years is a long time. I know exactly how long 23 years feels. That's exactly the amount of time that I spent in outside sales up in the Klamath Trinity Valley and in Peterbilt. Tough times, but good times. I'm glad that you got to experience the culture that you had with the MCSD, and we will miss you. Thank you for your service.
All right, let's see. So we need to do the public. That's right. I'm sorry. I was going to jump to the resolution, but we'll let public comment. Anybody want to get up and say anything, or don't have to? It's not too scary. They're not that
Except
bad
for
about
Jones, except for Chris Jones.
Okay, well, don't be shy about it.
I've got a lot of good stuff I can say about Eric. He's got a lot of characteristics that are very significant and unique to himself. One of them being his voice. Sometimes when I'm sitting at my dinner table, I feel like I could still hear him yelling. Then I realized, oh no, he's just yelling at his dogs because he's my neighbor. And back about 6 years ago, 5 years ago, houses were really hard to come by, especially in, those special neighborhoods. And luckily he was friends with the guy that was selling the house, and he actually hooked it up and helped us get onto that road. I guess he thought I would be a good neighbor. I don't know why he thought that, but it's been really good, not only having Eric as a boss, but also as a neighbor. Before I worked for MCSD, I actually worked for my dad, like he was my boss. And I always say the best thing that ever happened to me and my dad was him just being my dad and not a boss. And to me, Eric retiring isn't like necessarily a sad thing, because now he's not going to be my boss. He's just going to be my neighbor and my friend. And he's got more love in his heart than almost anybody. And I'll be sad not to see him at work, but I know I'm still gonna see him all the time, so it's not necessarily a sad thing for me. And fortunately for me, unfortunate for him is even 10 years from now, I know he's always gonna be one of those people I have in my back pocket for advice, not only for work stuff, but also for life advice. So thank you, Eric.
I just want to congratulate Eric on retiring. It's been a long 23 years working underneath him, and I have learned a lot. And it's not always the easiest, but he always has solutions for every problem. And he'll make stuff up on the fly, and it turns out amazing, which I respect. And if there's a way, Eric figures it out. And everything that he does it with a passion. And he's a great leader, and I hope to follow in his footsteps.
James, you want to go first or you want me to jump? Well, I'm going to jump in then. It is an honor working with the amazing staff that you have at the district. And it really has been a privilege and an honor to get to know Eric the years that I've been working with him. And the resolution does talk a bit about his depth of knowledge, but it really is amazing. You can ask him anything about large animal husbandry or what herbicide to use or what EV charger to use, and Eric will know the answer. And yes, I wish him only the best in his retirement, and I also look forward to telling Chris Jones that, well, Eric would have done. Congratulations, Eric.
It's going to be so quiet in the operations office without Eric, a man who doesn't know the word whisper. No. Should I tell him? It's not a whisper, it's a whisper. No. It is, I've had the pleasure of getting to work with Eric for a number of years as well. And there's so many good things. He's good at his job. He's good at working, he's good at doing the things, but he's also a good friend. Like, he listens to people. He asks you how you're doing and actually cares. He asks how your mom is doing and actually cares to know the answer. So I'll miss you, Eric. I'll miss having conversations with you. And, but I think the quiet might be nice. Anyway, we love you, Eric. We'll miss you.
I have been fortunate enough to work with Eric since day one, and 14 years later, I'm still stoked that I got the chance to work with Eric, and I'm so happy for him to be able to retire and enjoy that time with his family and here on out. Eric, like everyone said, is incredible. I don't think there's anything Eric can't fix. It's been absolutely amazing to watch him work on various projects, and not just like carpentry, but like everything to do with the district. If something's broken, I can go to Eric and be like, Eric, it needs to be fixed. Can you help me? But yeah, and not just in knowledge and interpersonal relationships. And like Leslie said, Eric will ask you how you're doing, and he genuinely cares. And that just means the world. Wish you the best in your retirement, man. It's not going to be the same around that place without you. And something that's so evident with Eric is like hit the heart and soul and the love he has had for the district and its constituents and customers. It's just, it's amazing. Congratulations.
One thing I want to touch on about Eric, and the fact that we are such like a family here at MCSD, is I don't have any family here locally. I moved here when I moved here for this job. And I can't tell you how many things Eric has helped me fix or saved my floor from being destroyed from a pipe flooding my house. or various things that I can just call on him like a dad. So he's like my work dad, that I'm like, something's going terribly wrong. Please help me fix it. So I still have your phone number, so I'm probably still gonna call you when things go. But I do, in addition to everything else that everyone has said about his work ethic and who he is as a person, I do want to just also touch on, he's always also someone that any of us here at the district can go to for help, and he is always willing to lend a helping hand. And so I really appreciate that. And yeah, it will be quieter though, especially with Greg on too.
Yes, I have to say something. I am the newest member of this team right now, and I learned more about you tonight than I have in the 2 years I worked with you. So I'm super sad that, who are you? Congratulations, Eric. I'm gonna miss seeing you in the front office. I hope you enjoy retirement. Sure, we can find a spot.
Nothing further to add. Thank you. I'm going to try to keep this funny because I don't want it to be sad, because I don't want Eric to cry, because I have been really like trying to keep Eric from crying for 2 weeks.
I think you're trying to keep yourself from crying.
Yeah. If HR wasn't here, I'd tell you how many times we've hugged in the last 2 weeks. We haven't. However, I will say that there will be cost savings with the district because we will use less roofing tar with Eric being gone. Because if it's broke, roofing tar will fix it. But I will say I am going to miss, the most I'm going to miss is pissing Eric off and watching how he gets silent and closes me out and acts like I'm not there. And like, I turn around and I laugh, like, so he can't see me. And he throws these little fits. And then I'll poke a little bit more and he'll get out of his seat and he'll take a walk around the shop to cool off. And he'll do that a few times, but I get so much pleasure out of it. So thank you for giving me that, Eric. I also know like this isn't the last of Eric. Well, I'm sure Eric will be in the office a lot. And we'll see each other all the time. We are also friends in this, and we did karaoke together and all that stuff and always had a good time. But I will say this, I did pull him aside yesterday. I did offer him my next 3 raises for the next 10 years because it takes a while for me to get a raise. I don't know why. I offered that for him to stay when I realized Chris was going to be there and I was going to be alone with him. And so Eric has denied the offer. So I may be leaving next. Chris is doing what he wants to run us all out. But no, Eric, you know I love you to pieces. I want to also thank your family for loaning you to us for 23 years. There's been many nights that he's gone out in the middle of the night to fix something. Skate is broken, something's down, lost power. You know, Eric has definitely stepped up to that lead person role and answered the phone when somebody calls him. And I know that it's a pain in the ass when you guys are at home and that phone's ringing at 2 in the morning and it wakes you up and Eric's got to leave the house and come back. So I do thank you for loaning your dad and your husband and your son to us for the last 23 years. So love you. And I'll just keep it at that.
Well, you have anything else to, photos? Do we want to do the resolution before we do?
Yeah, can we get done with so I'll move, per staff recommendation.
And I'll second it.
Thank you.
Director Bender,
Yes.
Director Beitman,
Enthusiastically, yes.
Director Mayo,
Yes.
Director Orsini,
Yes.
Vice President Couch.
Yes. So. Where are we gonna go take pictures and get this or something? Anything else or we're good?
What's that?
Thank you. Yeah. You can stay for the bond discussion if you want.
You must have got tired. I wonder how long you was there before you got tired of looking at it. You did it yourself.
Well, okay, I guess we'll go back to the meeting now. So our next item is item 2 in the new business, and it's water and wastewater bond financing update. And Samantha, I believe. Is that right?
Thank you. Yes,
Did I
that's
skip?
correct.
Okay.
It was in the middle of the laugh. I'm trying to control myself here. Okay, so as the board is aware, the district has been in discussion of issuing bonds to finance several water and wastewater projects for quite some time. At the March 4th, 2026 regular board meeting, the board approved resolution 2025-05 and 2026-06, directing staff to proceed with planning for the issuance of financing and declaring the district's official intent to reimburse itself with proceeds of tax-exempt financing for water projects. In an Audit and Finance Committee meeting held on April 1st, 2026, the committee identified specific projects to be funded, attachment 1, and directed the district's financing team to move forward with seeking financing for $4.588 million for water projects and $3.939 million for wastewater projects. This is reflected in the finance summary dated April 27th, 2026, or attachment 2. The next steps in the financing process include an S&P credit presentation, attachment 3, to receive an updated S&P rating taking place on May 11th, 2026. Legal and financing documents to come to the full board to approve and authorize the sale of COPs at the June 3rd, 2026 board meeting, and a goal of closing July 9th, 2026. There are other items taking place throughout this timeline that are detailed on the time and responsibility schedule, which is attachment 10. Attachments 4 through 9 are all the documents that relate to the sale of the water bond. The wastewater bond will have corresponding documents that are very similar. Staff highly recommend the board review all the documents as soon as possible and pose any questions to staff prior to the June 3rd regular board meeting. Staff recommend that the board listen to this information, take public comment, ask questions, and discuss the upcoming bond financing for water and wastewater projects.
Carol? We have more presentation or is it, that's it? Okay,
That's it.
that's fine. We have a big document, but that's okay. We're ready
That
for
was pretty, I think he's freaking out because there's over 100 pages in this.
300 pages in here.
Yes, that is the entire,
It's okay.
all of the loan documents are there, for review. So based on our discussion that we had in our last audit and finance meeting, we thought it was prudent to make sure it was provided before the June board meeting.
Can I go
Thank you.
first?
Go ahead.
So, yeah, being on the, Finance and Audit Committee, myself and Director Beitman thought it was prudent to bring this to the board, so that the board hadn't had a chance to review it, before it comes back in June, July, in June to be approved. We just wanted the board kind of, have a chance to see what's going on here. If you were so, I was gonna say energetic, but I think, brave enough to read through this, the sheer volume of work that staff has to put into, when we do the certificates of participation, it's pretty amazing. When you do a conventional financing, it's about 1/8 of this. And but when you do these certificates of participation, it's a very arduous task for staff to have to go through. Lots of questions, lots of material there, and I just want to commend staff on taking the time to do this. The numbers that are presented here for the request for the certificates of participation weren't.
Hey, Greg, you got to speak up, my friend.
They weren't. Could you turn me up a little bit more? Okay. Because I popped my P's. Okay. So anyway, the numbers that staff came up with were not arrived by in some willy-nilly fashion. Myself and Director Beitman requested a lot of information from staff related to what they thought we needed to do, what we could put off until later, what might get grant funded later, and what we actually had the capacity to do. And that's how these numbers were arrived at. Myself and Director Beitman are very comfortable in recommending that we move forward with this financing.
Go ahead.
Okay. I wanted to support, I want to say something in support of what Greg has just said. And that is, I felt like we were in a strong, at the Audit and Finance Committee work with the staff, I felt like we were in a strong negotiating session. And of course, we know what's driven this. What's driven this is the disappearance of the longed for and much anticipated grant funding. And so then the question that came up was if we are to be prudent and carry out our duties, what do we need to do? And can we simply say, oh, no grant funding, no projects? And that would be close to calling it a dereliction of duties. There are things in those projects that have to be done, no question about it. So what we did was we finally, as Greg just said, what we finally did was we came down to the short list and then worked it pretty hard until we finally got down to these absolutely must be done. And then the other side of it was, can we afford to do it? And there are a number of factors that came into that. One, probably most important, was how much money can we actually borrow through this and not do something that would be regretted later. And one of the issues on that was we have an excellent bond rating. That's and that bond rating means that our cost of doing this is relatively low. However, if we borrow too much, our bond rating is likely to fall and the cost of borrowing is likely to rise. Now, much of that depends upon a credit rating done by Standard & Poor's, which is yet to happen. But our consultants, the people with whom we're working, have looked it over and given us the assurance that we, in fact, could raise this much and not cross the threshold wherein our bond rating and therefore our cost of borrowing would be affected. So this is a delicate balance. It's a delicate balance between those projects which we believe absolutely must be done in order to ensure the long-term integrity of the system, and on the other hand, the cost of doing so, especially the ability for us to borrow the money through this mechanism to fund it. I think we hit the sweet spot. I think we hit the spot at which we will have the funding necessary to do the work that we believe must be done, and at the same time, not put ourselves in some position of jeopardy with regard to our financial ability. And there are a number of factors that figure into that, and those have been fairly carefully worked. And that's the basis for which, Director Orsini and I both agreed that that this proposal in this form should be advanced to the board for approval.
Thank you. Scott or Dennis, any?
You know, Dave, if you want to have conversation, you're going to have to speak into that mic, my friend.
Sorry. I was gonna say, you guys have any comments on this for?
Yes, I do. Also, I want to thank you guys for your work. I think that's a process that I had hoped we were doing and kind of brushed out on conversation. So it's important to get
Now we can't hear you, Dennis.
Can you get closer to the mic, Dennis? Are you going
I will. Can you
Well,
actually
thank
not
you.
hear me?
That's better.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, now we can
Um,
hear you.
Okay, I appreciate the work. I agree with it 100%. That was my perspective on the whole deal. Didn't know how it was going to shake out on which exact projects. I do now, and I support it. If there's a motion for it, I'll be voting in support.
Thank you. Scott, you have any? Scott says no. Okay, well,
You know, Scott says, no, that's way out of my wheelhouse. I need that all explained. But I trust Director Beitman and Orsini.
I do too. But actually, this is a non-action item, so we don't have to do anything except go home and read.
Yes, this
Read
is the
this.
informational item, and the full action item, which it'll be about twice this size, will be at our June board meeting.
Well, good. I was just going through the list of things, and they're all things, we've talked about, and the fact that we have to do it through bond financing would be great if we could get grants for it, but sometimes you just have to do it the hard way.
I have a request of staff. Given the volume of this, the earlier we can get the final documents, the better. That if I'm assuming though that what we have here is getting close to it, the earlier the better in terms of having time to review the study.
Right, so this is about as final as they are going to get before the June meeting. The final documents will come with pricing, correct, Pat? That is happening after the June board meeting. We have to get the loan documents and everything approved, and then they go for pricing after that. And Pat, step in and correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. So May 15th, we're having our Standard and Poor's meeting with Standard and Poor's, and then the rating is gonna come out from them. Oh, ideally by the end of the following week, but likely more like the last week in May, which is when we're putting together the board packet for the June board meeting. So, and then like Samantha said, the final pricing won't come till after that. So what you have, and really, if the only thing you look at is attachment 2, so page 217, that really summarizes how much we're asking for, what we expect the cost of issuance to be, and what we expect to pay for the debt service.
And we do have an audit and finance committee meeting scheduled for May 28th prior to the board meeting to discuss the credit rating that we received.
Well, I believe I think we're already invited to that meeting also,
Yes,
to the S&P meeting,
yes, so you
or
will.
the S&P presentation.
Correct. You both have been invited as spectators to the credit presentation. We're expected to get the actual rating the week of May 22nd. And so we'll have that audit and finance committee meeting after that to review the final
Okay.
rating.
So we'll have the S&P presentation, and then we'll have a meeting after that to review the rating
Correct,
Okay.
and prior to the June board meeting.
prior to the June board.
Correct.
And I will be reaching out to Director Orsini and Director Beitman for scheduling.
All right. Well, do we have any more discussion on that? Are we, everybody good? Lots more work upcoming on it.
Vice Chair Couch. Could
Oh.
could I request if we move on to item E10, because I know there are folks here for that item and
Folks?
Okay, well, that's certainly, I think we can do that. We will conclude our bond discussion and move to item 10. And page 635, and this is consider approval of the McKinleyville BMX BCK BMX Memorandum of Understanding to the McKinleyville Community Service District Board of Directors. First.
Thank you. The McKinleyville Community Service District owns what will be the BMX track and park once construction is completed. Its purpose is to expand recreational opportunities to the community. McKinleyville BMX is a nonprofit 501c3 organization that operates BMX programming, including racing, coaching, and practice events. The district and McKinleyville BMX have been working together since 2018 to get a BMX track and park in McKinleyville through public workshops, park and recreation committee meetings, and ultimately being awarded a California State Park Prop 68 grant. The proposed MOU outlines terms for facility use, maintenance responsibilities, insurance requirements, and operational coordination between MCSD and McKinleyville BMX. Key provisions include authorization for McKinleyville BMX to conduct scheduled BMX racing, coaching, and practice events at the facility, while the district retains overall control, including scheduling authority and the ability to cancel when necessary for safety or operational reasons. The agreement establishes an initial one-year term with an option to extend to a longer-term agreement upon review and board approval. McKinleyville BMX is responsible for coordinating programming, maintaining, McKinleyville BMX is responsible for coordinating programming, maintaining, sanctioning with USA BMX, and performing event-related operations and certain maintenance tasks, while the district maintains ownership, provides general facility upkeep, supports scheduling and promotion, and covers utility costs. A supplemental maintenance agreement allows McKinleyville BMX to provide volunteer labor in exchange for credit towards facility use fees. The MOU also includes standard insurance, indemnification requirements to protect the district. District staff, McKinleyville BMX, and USA BMX made edits to the draft MOU, including review by district and USA BMX legal counsel, until both parties were in agreement on the draft MOU, which is attachment 1. On April 15th, 2026, the MOU was taken to the Park Committee meeting, where it was unanimously approved to send a recommendation to the MCSD board for approval. So staff recommends the board review the information provided, take public comment, and authorize the board president to execute the MOU with McKinleyville BMX.
Thank you, Kirsten. We have discussion from the board. Do you want to speak or?
For those that don't know, my name's Jason Orlandi. I appreciate you guys having me here as always, and thanks for.
Hey, Jason, could you speak up a little bit so Dennis can hear you?
All right, can you hear me, Dennis? All right, there we go. Didn't want to speak too close to the mic. Jason Orlandi, for those that don't know me, and for the record, I appreciate you guys' time as always, and thank you for moving me up in the agenda. I was taking it all in. I was listening. I was paying attention back there, but I appreciate you bringing me towards the front. Like you mentioned, it's been 8 years since we've been working on this, and I'm looking forward to moving forward, and continuing to. I'm anticipating that we will be very busy once the track is open. I'm looking forward to that. I'm taking this time right now in the interim to get all the things done around my property, because I will be spending a lot of time out there with the kids of McKinleyville and other areas once that track is built. So thank you as always. I probably sound like a broken record sometimes, but it's been a long time coming for this, and I appreciate the consideration.
Thank you. Questions or?
No, just a comment. Yeah, I'd like to thank our staff and also McKinleyville BMX. Without this partnership, I don't know that this would have come to fruition. So thank you very much I know you've been on the long haul with this so thanks for your perseverance on this, and also thanks for staff for seeing this as a way or something that's important for our community. And hopefully we'll be watching bicycle races here by the end of the summer. That's all I have.
I just want to say thank you. Takes a lot of perseverance, I guess is the right word. I think perseverance comes when we have a dream, a vision, and we have the belief that if we work at it, that can become a reality. And I know there are times when maybe the strength of that belief is challenged, and that's when perseverance comes. And I want to thank you for taking those steps and holding on to that dream and staying with it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dennis, are you raising your hand?
Yes, I am. Thank you. And I concur with what all of you have said. And I just want to point out that it's what most all of us know, is that this is what we're looking for in community action. Community that is looking to do a positive thing and getting out and sticking to it and getting it done. And that's basically what this community service district was founded on. You folks that want things done and letting us manage those things for you in a responsible way. So I want to thank all of you. And also I want to say, Joey, thank you for getting the sound turned up.
Thank you, Dennis. Well, I was going to say, I've been a drive-by supervisor of all the dirt moving, and it's certainly fun to watch it and see what's going on. And I'm looking forward to it opening. And I even see that they're working on the pickleball court now, I think. So besides the BMX, the community will be getting other recreational opportunities there too. So I think that's all a good thing. And I know, Greg, you were working on helping to do fundraising for the bathroom or something, as I remember recently.
Yeah, the Rotary is we've committed to helping with that, and I think and I'm not sure, but we a couple of years ago we helped with some seed money for it that wasn't designated, and now I think that this next round is going to be designated towards helping build the restrooms.
So we're going to still have a working project, and we need community support for that, because I know restrooms are a really popular thing at public venues. So it'll be great when we can get all that finished.
They're only popular when you need to go.
Yeah, well,
I just
go ahead.
want to thank you again so much. It takes a level of patience when you're interacting with government. Nothing really gets done fast. We've got so much, we live on process and red tape. And so just again, thank you very much for your group's perseverance with this and not throwing your hands up in the air and saying, screw this, we'll go somewhere else.
Well, any more questions for me at all? All right. Thank you guys very much. I'll see you soon. And if anything, we'll see you at the ribbon cutting ceremony. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Well, we gotta do our roll call.
Well, we
gotta
have
do
to make a motion first. Yeah.
Somebody's got to do a.
Okay, I'll move that we approve the memorandum of understanding with the McKinleyville BMX not-for-profit organization.
And I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We'll do a roll call.
Director Bender,
Yes.
Director Beitman,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Yes.
Director Orsini,
Yes.
Vice President Couch.
Yes. Thank
Motion
you.
passes.
Motion
There you
passed.
go.
Of course, now we don't have any audience. Except online. Excuse me. No in-person on. All right, let's see. Where are we now?
5:15.
5:15.
Item 3.
Item 3. Consider reading adoption of ordinance 2026-01, amending regulation 46, Community Forest Committee at the McKinleyville Community Service District Rules and Regulation, and page 515 in our agenda. Yep. And Kirsten, once again.
Yes. Recent resignations from the McKinleyville Community Forest Committee and consideration of the proposed tribal committee members caused staff and the McKinleyville Community Forest Committee, or the MCF, to revisit the rules and regulations establishing the MCF and the two subcommittees. Major edits include formally establishing 2 alternate MCFC seats, formally establishing a tribal government appointee seat, formally establishing an at-large tribal member seat, and replacing the MCSD Operations Director seat with the MCSD Environmental Programs Coordinator seat. Although the MCSD board appointed 3 alternates back in 2024, the rules and regulations were not updated to reflect these seats at the time. The committee recommends that since the committee is adding an additional voting seat, that we instead only have 2 alternate seats, given that there are that the current committee is already large in size and that there is presently only 2 of those alternate seats filled. Additionally, at the February 17th, 2026 NCFC meeting, the committee voted to have staff bring the changes back to the committee made to the rules and regulations that included specifying having 1 voting seat be appointed by a local tribal council or local tribal government, and adding an additional voting seat for a local tribal member who is a resident within the MCSD boundary. While making these changes to Regulation 46, staff also made a few other changes to further reflect the developments on the MCFC and subcommittees. The MCFC reviewed these changes, made additional edits during their March 17th, 2026 meeting, and directed staff to accept the revisions and take the revised rules and regulations to you guys, to the board for approval. All suggested changes were accepted and are shown in the attachment Regulation 46 in track changes attachment 1, ordinance 2026-01 attachment 2 has already been drafted to codify these amendments. This is the second reading of this ordinance. Should the board approve the second reading and adopt the ordinance will go into effect on June 5th, 2026. And so staff recommends that the MCSD Board of Directors review the information provided, take public comment, discuss and approve the second reading and adoption of ordinance 2026-01 by title only.
All right, thank you. Other comments, board comments? So, Dennis, or no comments from you guys in the remote station? All right, we want to do a roll call or have a motion?
I'll move to approve, item E3 per staff recommendation.
I'll second.
There we go. One second, please.
All right, then we have a roll call.
Director Bender,
Yes.
Director Bateman,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Yes.
Director Rossini,
Yes.
Vice President Couch.
Yes. All right. Item E4 is consider second reading and adoption of ordinance 2026-02, amending the district's rules and regulations regarding collection of delinquent charges, page 535 in our packet. And that's Samantha.
Thank you. As presented at the regular board meeting held on April 1st, 2026, district staff reached out to legal counsel and requested draft revisions to address service disconnection and collection of delinquent charges through the tax roll process. In reviewing the existing rules and regulations, district council noted that the sewer service collection provisions already address tax roll collection, but they still reference an older statutory framework rather than the current community service district law provision found in Government Code Section 61115. Because the district's immediate need concerns water service collections, the principal purpose of the ordinance is to add a complete water service collection framework. The proposed sewer revisions are limited conforming edits intended to update outdated statutory references and maintain internal consistency between the district's water and sewer collection procedures. Wastewater service amendments include the ordinance adds Rule 11.05 through 11.13 to Regulation 11. Those new rules separately address 1, authorization for collection of delinquent charges on the tax roll, 2, the tax roll procedure, 3, the report, notice, hearing, and final determination process, 4, filing with the county auditor and collection on the tax roll, 5, authorization for recovery by recorded lien, 6, the recorded lien procedure, and 7, a cumulative remedies clause. Sewer conforming amendments include the sewer article already contains a detailed collection structure. The ordinance does not rewrite the structure. Instead, it updates specific sewer rules so that the sewer article references Government Section Code 61115 expressly including the recorded lien remedy and uses delinquency-focused language consistent with the proposed water amendment. This is the second reading of this ordinance. Should the board approve this second reading, this ordinance will go into effect on June 5th, 2026. Staff recommends McKinleyville Community Service District Board of Directors review the information provided, discuss, take public comment, and approve the second reading of ordinance 2026-02, attachment 1, previously introduced on April 1st, 2026, amending the district's rules and regulations regarding collection of delinquent water and sewer charges by title only. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I will open it up for discussion. Do we have any or we're not?
I had my say during first reading. Likewise.
All right. Well, anyone want to make a motion?
You want to add something?
Oh. You guys, our remote board members have any? I see head shaking. Okay, I think we're good.
And then public comment?
Public comment? Hands up. Okay.
I'll move item E4 per staff recommendation. I'll second.
Thank you. We'll do a roll call.
Director Bender,
Yes.
Director Beitman,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Yes.
Director Orsini,
Yes.
Vice President Couch.
Yes. Thank you. Motion passes there unanimously. Right. Item E5 is consider support for Assembly Bill 1866 Rogers, California Disaster Assistance Act, minimum damages thresholds, page 549, and Joey's.
Thank you, Vice
50%.
President Couch. Assemblymember Rogers has introduced AB 1866, California Disaster Assistance Act minimum damage thresholds to provide more equitable funding for small, rural, and low-income communities. The bill ensures that local agencies unable to meet high federal damage thresholds for FEMA disaster aid receive priority for state assistance and allow volunteer efforts to count towards local matching requirements. Assemblymember Rogers has highlighted the recovery difficulties Rio Dell has experienced since the 2022 earthquake as an example of where this legislation would be beneficial. As McKinleyville is also a small rural community, also susceptible to seismic events and other natural disasters that may cause meaningful damage, but not to the level that qualifies for federal assistance, staff believes the district's support of this bill is prudent. Staff recommends that the board review the information provided, take public comment, and consider support for AB 1866 and approve the board president and general manager to sign a letter of support.
Thank you, Joey. Do we have any discussion?
I just have a question. Do we know what CSDA and Aqua's position is on this bill?
Go ahead, Dennis.
Right now, Dennis.
Oh, sorry. Aqua is in support.
Always check in, CSDA. I thought when this came around before, we had checked and CSDA had.
Yeah, I thought it was a full support, but I wasn't 100% sure.
I believe I looked it up and that was the case, but let me double check.
Yeah, but that's okay. Don't worry about it. I just thought we might know. It's not important. I think regardless of their positions, I would move forward with us supporting this. We've noted that a lot of small things locally too. When we had the flooding down in King Salmon, that devastated that area, but that didn't meet it didn't meet the threshold, and so none of that could be considered a disaster. So I think with this legislation, it would help with small catastrophes like that, and open them up so that they could get aid. So I think this is a good thing.
CSDA has a watch position with a staff recommendation of support.
So I'd just like to add on top of what Director Orsini said, is there's been quite a few things like that, disasters, slight floodings, assaults on our dairy industry, et cetera, and pretty significant damages, and we did not come up to the dollar threshold. So it's going to cut across our community and be very high.
Well, okay. Yeah.
As I mentioned in our last meeting, there was significant discussion of this at the REDIC meeting, at that board meeting, and specifically around the situation in Rio Dell and the situation in King Salmon. The tragedy in both those communities was that the community was too small to meet the threshold for federal assistance, and consequently federal assistance wasn't available. What made it worse is that the to the extent that people had flood insurance in King Salmon, they could not afford the deductible, so the insurance was no good to them. And worse yet, since they had insurance, any disaster assistance was not forthcoming because they were considered to be insured, and then the insurance would cover the losses. All the way around, a very difficult and very unpleasant situation. This bill, as I understand it, fills in, provides disaster recovery for small communities, and would have provided assistance for Rio Dell and King Salmon. You listen to the stories of people who in those two communities, what they suffered, and the worst part, and not the worst part, but the horrible part of the suffering was that there was nothing available to help them put things back together and get their feet under them. This bill, well, I don't see this as being perfect. I see a number of things that are not clear. Nonetheless, it's a major step in the direction I think particularly for our local communities that we need to take. We're small. We fall below the threshold of assistance, and this would give us some assistance in the event of a disaster. I personally, I hope that we pass this motion, and I hope that the bill passes and that we have some sort of a safety net for our small communities.
Well, thank you. I was going to say, our Assemblyman Rogers has come up and visited us here in McKinleyville, so I think he's familiar with us. So, got to meet him in person. That was a good thing. So I'm certainly going to support this. It sounds very appropriate to try to help our smaller communities in their times of need. Unless you guys have anything from remote? I see head shaking. How about a motion? Oh, sorry.
Will this lead us to the point that add something else to the workload of the staff, but that we will prepare a letter of support and direct it to, where does it get directed to? Assemblyman Rogers?
Yeah, so there is a letter of support already developed. Upon board approval, we'll send it to Assemblymember Rogers' office so he and the staff can attach it and list us as supporters.
And that's included
And a
on page
well-written
553.
letter it was.
Yeah, it's on
Oh.
page 553.
And I forgot to open it to public comment. If anyone wants to raise a hand or comment, saying no? Okay.
Oh, I've got another, this is an amazingly short piece of legislation. I think that, I wish the rest of, our representatives could take a cue from Assemblymember Rogers and simplify their bills.
Yeah.
Do you need a motion?
I need a motion.
Okay. I was waiting for you to ask.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll move per staff recommendation.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a roll call.
Director Bender,
Yes.
Director Beitman,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Yes.
Director Orsini,
Yes.
Vice President Couch.
Yes. Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. All right, our next item, 6, is review operations draft budget for water, wastewater, and streetlight funds for fiscal year 26-27, and that's Samantha. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. The budget was developed based on current costs, trends, and best estimates. Staff have developed a projection of water and wastewater sales based on current consumption trends rather than the most recent rate study. The following comparisons compare the proposed budget for fiscal year 26-27 to the approved budget for 25-26, or the current fiscal year. For the water fund, fiscal year 26-27 net income is budgeted to have an 18% increase compared to fiscal year 25-26. Revenue is forecasted to increase by 8% due to the regularly scheduled rate increase, an increase in cell tower lease revenue, and an increase in grant revenue from the McCluskey Tank and Mad River Crossing grants. Forecasted expenses for the water fund are expected to have an overall increase of 4% compared to the fiscal year 25-26 budget, primarily due to a 41% increase in general liability insurance, 26% increase in postage, 45% increase in subscriptions, and 20% increase in permit fees. These increases were made to more accurately reflect the estimated actuals for fiscal year 25-26. The water fund is projected to end fiscal year 26-27 with a $2.348 million surplus. Net income for the wastewater fund is budgeted to have a 2% decrease compared to fiscal year 26-27. Revenue is forecasted to increase by 1% overall due to the regularly scheduled rate increase in lease revenue, increase in interest revenue, but $500,000 decrease in expected grant revenue. Wastewater expenses are expected to increase compared to fiscal year 25-26, primarily due to the budgeting of the Section 115 trust contribution of $100,000, which was inadvertently missed in the prior year's budget, a 41% increase in general liability insurance, and a 45% increase in subscriptions. Despite the budgeted decrease in net income, the wastewater fund is forecasted to end fiscal year 26-27 with a $3.366 million surplus. The streetlight fund remains stable in comparison to fiscal year 25-26. However, similar to the wastewater fund, the Section 115 trust contribution of $10,000 was inadvertently left out of the current year budget for the prior year, or current year, excuse me, and therefore the budget summary shows a 53% decrease in net income for fiscal year 26-27 compared to 25-26. Staff will be issuing a budget revision for 25-26 to correct these errors. That's the next item. Questions from the directors on any category item or on the budget overall are welcome. The finalized budget will be presented to the board for formal approval in June. Staff recommend that the board review, take public comment, and discuss the fiscal year 26-27 draft operating budget for the water, wastewater, and streetlight funds. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'll open it to the board. Do you have any? Yeah, Greg? Yeah.
Thank you. As I said last month, thank you very much. I know what goes into the amount of work that goes into doing these. And I just want to thank staff, management for the hours and the focus it takes in keeping your crystal ball kind of polished up related to be able to put together a budget that that has the potential of being able to reflect what's actually going on with the district. It's not an easy task. So thank you very much. One thing I did have a question about, and I think might be a consideration for staff or I don't, but putting the grant revenue, I understand grant revenue is it is revenue. But I don't think it characterizes having the grant revenue. It's kind of an unbalanced way of looking at the amount of revenues that we have related to the amount of expenses we're going to have for the year. And I'm wondering if we might have some consideration of maybe finding a different way of characterizing that, because being on the board, and my responsibility is more of a 30,000-foot level. And when I look at this, I see that, we're proposing $7.2 million, and we're going to have $4.8 million of expenses. And that paints a picture that isn't really accurate, because $2 million of that is really not, it's going to show up on both sides of the balance sheet. It's going to go in and it's going to go out while the project's going on. So I wonder if we might consider, if staff might kind of consider maybe a different way of characterizing that, or and don't get me wrong, I realize it is a revenue, but it makes it harder for the board to be able to see how we're doing related to what our operating budget is. And because the $4.8 million is operating expenses, but the water revenues is not just operating revenues.
Yes. So if you want me to, I can definitely restructure the format of this to match the way I do our treasurer's report. Where the treasurer's report, I very much separate out the operating revenue. And then there's a line item for non-operating revenue, which would include grant revenue and interest revenue.
Well, this is not direction. So
Okay.
I just want to make sure that the staff and management are 100% comfortable before you move down that road. And if it's felt that that it's fine like that, because I can go through here and pick out, I know it's, and I can subtract it. So I know what the total revenues are going to be from our sales and, capacity fees and things like that. Which is more of a reflection of, what our operating revenues are.
Right. So two things. This document is definitely one that I inherited. So and it's been in the budget this way for as long as I have seen, and it's audited every year.
Right.
However, if you want to provide direction for me to change it, I absolutely can do that.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll look to you, Greg, to see if you wanted to have me change it.
And don't ask me why, it just popped into my head that I thought that it might be a better idea to bifurcate our grant revenues.
Yeah.
out.
To provide comfort to that, though, in the monthly treasurer's report that I provide, I do split it out that way
Right.
for the operating revenue versus the non-operating, so that you can clearly see every month how it's coming out and being spent, being received.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, and I know that's been like this. You inherited this. It's,
Yeah.
I don't know why it struck me as I think that it's because we're getting closer and closer now to our water, our operating revenues and our operating expenses being pretty damn close together. And I just thought it might be helpful for the rest of the board that might not have the same insight that I have related to how our finances work, to be able to because I'm not going to be on the board forever. But like I said, I think that's a conversation that staff should have, and I'll support whatever staff and management come up with related to that.
Okay, I would tend to agree with Greg, and I think it'd be great if it was more standardized that way. I appreciate the way the treasurer reports are written with those items split like that. So it makes a little bit more sense to me.
I'm going to accept that as direction, Director Bender. Is that acceptable?
If we can do that without it being formal, then yes, please.
Okay.
And if not, we'll just bring it back for a item on the agenda sometime for your benefit.
I think we can accept that as direction without formal action, can't we?
Yeah,
Discussion,
Is it okay, is it okay with you, Pat?
I'm
You're the
gonna add
boss.
one other thing that, makes the picture even less clear. Is that, Greg is right, that grant money is on both sides of the ledger. It comes in and it goes out, but it also stays behind. So it increases the net position for the district. And that $2 million goes to an asset that the district retains. So it increases the net position of the district every year too.
Yes,
So,
in our capital assets.
right.
Yeah.
And so
With a
that,
caveat.
go ahead.
So it also another side of that to what Pat was saying for the enterprise funds. We'll talk about the parks funds first. So you do see grant revenue coming into the governmental fund. And you also see the expenditures going out all on the P&L, the profit and loss. Whereas the water and wastewater being enterprise funds, the capital expenditures do not come out of the profit and loss. Those only reflect on the balance statement. So as you can see, water and wastewater, there's not a line item on here for capital expenditures. So it's definitely a discussion item every time, I feel like.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I want the boss to be comfortable if any changes have been made. I definitely defer to Pat.
Yeah, and we can discuss it further and bring it back. We will bring back the entire budget here in June and we'll just plan on discussing it further then as well.
My comments will be totally redundant. But I just want to say to Samantha, I really appreciate the clarity that you've brought to this process. And I realize that digging out the detail and organizing it is, as Director Rossini said, this is a challenge. This is a serious challenge. Because what we see here is as he says, a 30,000-foot view down at ground level. There's an awful lot of stuff that goes on. What would be helpful to me, since we're having an open discussion on it, and we can pick this up later, Pat, but what would be helpful to me and has been the question ever since I started dealing with this is to see the capital items separated from the operating items. So I can get a good, clear picture of the revenues and expenses of operations and how operations are doing. And then somehow like Director Rossini, I can do my own arithmetic to be able to see then the capital aspects separated from the operating aspects. And the grant funds have been, I think, the big piece of that.
Right.
However we can do that, that's what mentally.
Yes, Director Brightman. So I believe when I first started, we did have an audit and finance committee meeting to discuss that. If you look at the treasurer's report for this month, actually item D2 in this packet, there is a spreadsheet in there with all of our capital projects, with your spending year to date on them, the amount of grant funding that was given and the amount of grant funding that's remaining. So it's all in item D2 for you. And I do that every quarter. So March, June, September, and December.
If the budgeting process reflected that as well, and then it would be.
It does, yes. So the budget and process, you already have seen the capital improvement project budget that came earlier.
Right.
And it'll be included again in the final budget in June.
Sure.
Yep. And then every quarter I provide what we have spent year to date on every project.
Right. And how do I say, please don't take up what I'm saying is in any way a criticism of the good work that you're doing, because I really appreciate what you're doing, how you have things organized, and the clarity with which I can see as a consequence of that.
Yeah, I do ask that you review the table that's in there because I do want to make sure that it is meeting what you're looking for. I've changed it a couple times, so please review it and let me know if you need to see something else.
Oh, your quarterly report on capital
Correct.
expenditures?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will do that. Thank you.
Yeah, I checked it. I liked it this month and it met my requirements. Or my expectations, that's, put it that way. Just
Okay, we have any other discussion on that? That's not a it's informational item, so. Yeah. Guys, our remote people have anything to say? Are you good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. All right, well, we'll move on to item E7, which is approval of fiscal year 25-26 budget revision. And I think that's Samantha again.
Thank you. So per MCSD's procurement policy, budgeted line items that are projected to require cumulative increases beyond 10% in any fiscal year must be approved by the board. In the current fiscal year 2025-26, all funds are requiring a budget revision due to several line items that are projected to exceed the 10% limit. Budget summaries are attached, attachment 1, and highlights for each fund are as follows. The water total revenue for the water fund is projected to be $934,884 less than originally budgeted, primarily due to a decrease in expected grant revenue and approximately $56,575 loss on disposal of impaired assets. Total expenses for the water fund are projected to be less than originally budgeted by $36,268, primarily due to the removal of the $218,000 bond issuance expense that will be carried to fiscal year 2027. However, key expenses that are projected to be beyond the 10% limit include PERS, employer contributions, general liability insurance, subscriptions, permit fees, and board travel. Water net income is projected to be $1,084,134 for fiscal year 2025-26. The water CIP budget, the 4.5 million gallon tank project budget has increased from 1 million to 2.8 million to ensure that it captures all expected expenditures through the end of the fiscal year. All other CIP items remain the same as the original budget. For sewer, total revenue for the sewer fund is projected to be $2,693,326 less than originally budgeted, primarily due to the loss of the highway sewer undercrossing grant, no receipt of the recycled water grant funding, and $145,813 loss on disposal of impaired assets. Total expenses for the water fund are projected to be $78,938 higher than originally budgeted. The sewer fund, what did I say? Water, sorry, sewer. Primarily due to increases in wages, workers' compensation, PERS, employer contributions, staff's failure, my failure to budget accurately for the Section 115 trust contribution, which has been paid, postage, general liability insurance, subscriptions, permit fees, and board travel. These increases were offset by the removal of the $240,000 bond issuance expense that will be carried to fiscal year 2027. Sewer net income is projected to be $678,940 for fiscal year 25-26. No adjustments were made to the sewer CIP budget. Total revenue for the Street Life Fund is projected to remain as originally budgeted. However, again, my failure to budget accurately for the Section 115 trust contribution, which has been paid, and therefore expenses are projected to be $12,654 higher than originally budgeted. Streetlights net income is projected to be $2,387 for fiscal year 2025-26, and no adjustments were made to the Streetlights CIP budget. For parks and the general fund, total revenue for the general fund is projected to be $408,207 higher than originally budgeted. This increase is primarily due to a $293,784 estimated increase in program revenue due to the year-round services now provided to the expanded learning program. Additionally, property tax revenue has been increased to more accurately reflect the estimated actual revenue. The general CIP budget has been adjusted for a $600,000 increase to the BMX track and park project budget and to reduce previously budgeted projects that will not be completed prior to the end of the fiscal year. Net change in the CIP budget is a $522,600 increase. As a general fund, these expenditures are reflected in the Parks and General Fund budget summary. Total expenditures for the general fund are projected to be $812,525 higher than originally anticipated. This increase is primarily due to the CIP budget adjustments and the increased costs associated with providing year-round services to the expanded learning program. This has caused the Parks and General Fund to now have a net loss of approximately $403,910 for fiscal year 2025-26. Measure B, total revenue for the Measure B fund is projected to be $37,263 less than originally budgeted at the Measure B assessment. Revenue has been adjusted to more accurately reflect the estimated actual revenue. Total expenditures for the Measure B fund are projected to be $175,887 less than originally budgeted, primarily due to a reduction in the CIP budget. Measure B net income is projected to be $153,749 for fiscal year 2025-26. Side note for that, with that increase in projected net income, the Measure B deficit is going to be reduced to approximately $161,000. Staff recommend that the board review the information provided, take public comment, and approve the revision to MCSD's fiscal year 25-26 budget.
Thank you. Well, do we have questions?
Yeah, I've got one.
Okay.
Thank you very much for this. Is very concise. My question is related to, the year-round, expanded learning thing that would show up on both sides of the balance sheet, so that there should be no net impact on our bottom line, correct?
It does. We get a little bit of extra. It's not exactly cost, so we make a little bit off of it to cover cost. Yeah.
Okay. So where would you say the vast majority of that, projected loss, the 403?
BMX Park,
The
for
BMX
sure. Yeah.
So it'll show up as a capital asset, but, right
Well,
now it's.
As a governmental fund,
Yeah.
it comes off.
Oh, that's right. It
an
comes off.
expense.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind. I forgot.
Yep. Yep, that is the majority of it,
Yeah,
for
okay.
sure.
Thank you.
And Pat did share with me your question regarding the loss in assets. That was from when we did our our fixed asset policy and internal audit, removing assets from the balance sheet that fall under the $5,000 threshold, or assets that were on the books from 1972
Yeah,
that
that
we
had fully
don't have.
appreciated that aren't, yeah.
Yeah, most.
Yeah,
of them-
I'd never heard them, characterized as a loss of disposable or impaired assets, so.
Yeah, so the amount that was actually removed from the books was far exceeding that amount. That amount represents the assets that were under the fixed asset threshold, but were not fully depreciated out. So I had to expense them.
So you did a journal entry for that so that the auditor doesn't freak out when it
Yeah,
comes.
and the auditor very much guided me through that.
Oh, did he?
process.
Very
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Cool.
As I recall, that the auditor recommended that, am I correct?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for taking care of that, cleaning up the capital assets. And I'm sure that that'll come in handy when you start the new software too.
That was one of the main drivers. Yeah.
Yeah. So now when the budget comes back for approval, the new numbers for 25-26 will be reflected in the budget for the past years.
Yes, that first column will say revised budget fiscal year 25-26.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Mhm.
That's all I had. Good job, guys.
Yeah. Well, there's no other discussion or questions. Somebody make a motion?
It's information.
Oh, it's information.
It's not.
No, it's not. It says roll call here.
That's right. I forgot. I'll move with the May revise.
Second.
All right, we get a roll call?
Director Bender,
Yes.
Director Bateman,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Yes.
Director Orsini,
Yes.
Vice President Couch.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. All right, item 8, discuss and consider approval of resolution 2026-15, adopting the amended mitigated negative declaration and the mitigation monitoring and reporting program for the highway sewer crossing project. That's Pat.
Thank you, Vice Chair Couch. At the December 5th, 2025 regular board meeting, the board approved the CEQA documents for the sewer highway crossing retrofit project, or the project. The project, as originally proposed, would replace 3 existing gravity sewer lines in McKinleyville, which cross under US 101, with pipes that are more resilient to damage in major earthquakes, and with a slightly larger capacity to handle larger storm event flows than the existing pipes. As the board is aware, the project was to be funded by a hazard mitigation grant from FEMA. Unfortunately, the staff cuts at FEMA left insufficient personnel to process the requested grant extension to allow for the construction of all 3 crossings. Given the loss of the $5 million in grant funding, the district can now only afford to install the most critical crossing, the middle crossing at Deal Avenue. Depending on what the bids come back at, we hope to be able to install the southernmost crossing as well. There will very likely not be sufficient funding to install the northern crossing. In addition, there has been changes identified since the board adopted the original initial study mitigated neg deck at the December 2025 meeting. The ISMND has been amended. See attachment 2, along with the mitigation monitoring and reporting program. See attachment 3. To address a minor expansion at the middle crossing and the protection of a seasonal drainage ditch or stream at the northern crossing. These changes also result in the revised notice of determination to be filed with the county recorder's office within 5 working days of the decision to approve the amended ISMND and MMRP. As originally determined, and with these proposed amendments, the project would result in a less than significant impacts with mitigation incorporated for air quality, biological resources, cultural resources, energy resources, geology and soils, hydrology and water quality, and tribal cultural resources as outlined in the ISMND and MMRP. The previously completed ISMND was publicly circulated from October 20th, 2025 to November 19th, 2025, and was filed with the state clearinghouse along with the notice of completion on October 20th, 2025. A notice of intent to adopt the ISMND was published in the Mad River Union on October 22nd, 2025. No comments were received during the public review period. At the December 5th, 2025 board meeting, the board approved the project as well as the ISMND and MMRP. The original NOD was filed with the Humboldt County Recorder's Office on December 6th, 2025. So staff recommends the board review the information, discuss, take public comment, and approve resolution 2026-15, which adopts the CEQA amendment to the initial study and proposed mitigated neg deck and a mitigation monitoring and reporting program for the previously approved highway sewer crossing project, and directs the general manager to file the amended notice of determination with the county within 5 working days.
Thank you. So we have board questions, discussion?
Yes. So, taking the north end out of this probably simplified this considerably.
Yeah. Yes.
Just one other question. So on here, in this, I didn't catch this until just now, but what's the difference between a cultural resource and a tribal cultural resource?
I don't know. They are broken out as separate sections there. But I guess I don't really know the difference.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Just wondering.
Does this require that we go back to the publication process, or is this a simple amendment that does not require?
It's a simple amendment that just requires us filing a new NOD. We don't have to go back out and do the whole public notice.
Yeah,
process.
we're not adding to the original one. We're taking away from it. So the public input
Right.
part of it's already been taken care of.
Any other comments? Anyone? Well, let's see. We're supposed to do a roll call vote on this one, so I need a
Any
vote.
public, was there any public?
Public? I don't. Raising their hand.
I'll move item E3 per staff recommendation. Or E8.
I'll second. And Joey, we do roll call?
Director Bender? Sorry, I didn't catch that, Director Bender. Yeah. Director Beitman?
Yes.
Director Mayo?
Yes.
Director Orsini?
Yes.
Vice President Couch?
Yes. All right, motion passes. All right, item E9, discuss and decide on district preferences for the November 3rd, 2026 election. Joey Blaine is presenting.
Thank you, Vice President Couch. The Humboldt County Office of Elections sent correspondence in preparation for the statewide general election on November 3rd, 2026. The following officer terms are expiring in 2026: David Couch, James Beitman, and Dennis Mayo. The Elections Office has requested the following information from the district for the upcoming election due back by May 31st. Who will pay for the candidate statements, district or candidate? Maximum word length for candidate statements, 200 words or 400 words. How will your district resolve a tie, by lot or runoff? And have there been changes to district boundaries? No. For the last elections, the board determined that the candidates would be responsible for the cost of publishing their statement and set the length of the statement to 200 words, and that they would resolve a tie by lot. After the information requested is determined, staff will return the completed form to the elections office. Fiscal analysis: costs for the November election have yet to be determined, but the county elections office provided information from the 2024 election for reference. For the 2024 election, the county established the fee for a 200-word candidate statement at $814 per candidate. Additional fees would be incurred should the district choose to resolve a tie by runoff. Staff recommends that the board review the information provided, discuss, take public comment, and direct staff to return the letter from the County Office of Elections with the following selections: require candidates to pay for the cost of the candidate statement, limit the candidate statement to 200 words, and resolve a tie by lot.
Thank you, Joey. Do we have any discussion or?
Yeah, I just have a brief statement. It's not so much related to this, but to the fact that it's getting pretty damn expensive to run an election, and we're almost bumped. The county's requiring it. So once you get over $2,000 in expenses, you have to create a committee, and you got to there's a whole bunch of different hoops you have to jump through. So it's almost to the point now to where even if you're paying for it out of your own pocket, it's meeting the almost the requirement that you've got to have the same basically the same things in place that you would if you were taking up donations and stuff like that. So I just can't imagine if it only costs us. So the $800 is what it cost for the last election. So we have no idea. They've not come up with how much it's going to cost us down yet.
They have not. They're still being determined.
I'm going to bet it's north of $1,000 a piece, per one. But anyway, that's just my soapbox.
Thanks. Of course, you don't have to have a statement.
That's true. You don't have to do a statement.
So
Director Couch, I'm sitting here, I'm waiting to have, hear what you have to say since you're there at the public forum.
well, I was just saying that, I can remember it was $300, which I thought was a lot of money. So 800 is a lot more than that. And they say you don't have to have a candidate statement. You could just have a blank, nothing there. So, but I do like, I prefer the option that staff had recommended and what we do for the election. And if anyone there is from the public, having an election declared by lot sounds kind of crazy, but if we have a runoff, that costs the district quite a bit of money. So that's the preferred reason for having the lot.
The last two in recent history were City of Sunnyvale and City of Blue Lake. Literally pulled names out of a hat.
So I'll make a quick, as I can, comment. The price is just stupid. We used to have it be X amount of money, and then if anybody that wanted to put a comment in did, and if everybody did, then that was reduced down and given back to the candidates, because they're only supposed to cover the cost of printing and mailing. So I don't know whether that's exactly the case or not, but it's absolutely ridiculous.
That was the case last year.
Yeah. So I have not made up my mind yet whether or not I'm going to do whatever. But my 2 cents worth is $200, or excuse me, 200 words. And if anybody wants to do it, they pay for it themselves. And that's kind of what I think this board has done for many times. Just my 2 cents worth.
Well, I would concur with Dennis. Do we have any public comment on it? Seeing none?
I'll move per staff recommendation. The candidates cover the costs, the limit to 200 words, and resolved by lot.
I'll second.
Are we ready for a roll call?
Yes, sorry.
Director Binder? Director Beitman?
Everybody else is doing so. I'll say yes.
Director Mayo?
Yes.
Director Orsini?
Yes.
Vice President Couch?
Yes. All right, motion passes. We're good for the election.
Themselves to $1,000 experience.
Yep, pretty much. No, you don't, if you don't want to do if you don't want to submit a comment or a statement, it'll save you.
Just say your name and that's it.
It'll save you $800. Yeah, whatever it's going to be, 1,000, 1,200, whatever it's going to be.
All right, let's see. We did item 10. So now we're going to jump ahead to.
Because you'll get your money back too. If nobody needs to. They don't catch your check.
To item E11, consider first reading of ordinance 2026-03, amending the district's rules and regulations, generalizing specific fees to reference Appendix A, current special fee schedule, and Appendix B, facility and park rental fee schedule. Joey gets to do it again.
Thank you, Vice President Couch. Buckle up, everybody. As part of its due diligence, staff has reviewed the district's rules and regulations Based on this review, staff has determined that for mutual benefit of customers and staff, specific fees should be consolidated and referenced in Appendix A, current special fee schedule. Draft included is Attachment 3, which the revised version is in front of you and available for the public. And Appendix B, facility and park rental fee schedule, draft included as Attachment 4. Centralizing these fees allows customers to easily locate all applicable fees in a single section of the rules and regulations, while enabling staff to efficiently update fees other than those subject to Proposition 218 without the need for piecemeal amendments through the ordinance process. During its review, staff determined that Rule 8.03, meter test deposit, along with Rules 8.04 and 8.05, which address the results of meter testing, are outdated and no longer applicable. Badger, the water meter manufacturer, conducts factory testing prior to shipment to ensure each meter registers within acceptable limits, rendering these provisions unnecessary. Additionally, staff noted that Rule 14.05, supplied from fire hydrant, states the district offers the loan of a hydrant wrench for a nominal fee. As the district does not currently provide this service, the language is being removed from the rule. Further, it was noted during the review of Rule 19.03 sewer permits that the existing sewer inspection fee is outdated and requires adjustment to align with current payroll rates. Staff is also recommending the discontinuance of the variable charge for D, commercial, industrial, school, public, and other use permit that class of permit be charged at standard rates. These adjustments are reflected in draft Appendix A current fee schedule. Staff also made additional adjustments to Regulation 45, permits, fees, and deposits to reflect current district procedures and to enhance clarity. Additionally, the draft Appendix B facility and park rental fee schedule includes proposed fee adjustments calculated by applying this year's consumer price index / cost of living adjustment of 2.8% as a baseline. Proposed adjustments have been rounded where appropriate for administrative ease and consistency. The changes to Regulation 45 and proposed fee adjustments were recommended for their approval to the board by the Parks and Recreation Committee at their April 15th, 2026 meeting. This is the first reading of this ordinance. Should the board approve the first reading, this item will return for second reading and adoption at the June 3rd, 2026 regular meeting. Staff recommends the McKinleyville Community Services District Board of Directors review the information provided, take public comment, discuss, and approve the first reading and adoption of ordinance 2026-03 by title only.
All right, do we have discussion on this?
Yeah, just a quick one. What a great idea to have all these in one spot and be able to modify them easily. Probably using a resolution as opposed to an ordinance when they need to be modified. Should have been done a long time ago. Good job, staff.
Well, I can't build on that. You just have to concur with Greg. All right, you guys, our remote directors have any comments or no? See head shaking, that's all I need to see. Anybody? I'll make a motion. Would we have to have a roll call after the first reading or the? Yes, okay, I'll make a motion that we consider first reading of ordinance 2603, amending the district rules and regulations generalizing specific fees to reference Appendix A, current fee schedule, and Appendix B, facility and park rental fee schedule.
I'll second that.
Get a roll call.
Director Bender,
Yes.
Director Pipman,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Yes.
Director Orsini,
Yes.
Vice President Couch.
Yes. Thank you. All right. Item E12, consider first reading of ordinance 2026-04, amending the district rules and regulation, Rule 707, cross connections. Let's get stuff.
At the August 2025 board meeting, the board approved the district's cross connection control plan, which is attachment 1, which was subsequently submitted to the State Water Resources Control Board for review and approval. The CCCP complies with California Code of Regulations, CCR Title 17, which requires water purveyors to maintain a cross connection control program and mandates backflow protection where a health hazard, such as a sewer pump, is connected to a building's plumbing system and installing devices above ground. Ordinance 2026-04 Attachment 2 has been edited to further codify the district's rules and regulations regarding backflow prevention requirements. Major changes to district policy brought forward by the CCCP include adoption of a CCCP, no adoption requirements for such document, no previous one. DCBs above ground. We have wrote in our plan that instead of sending out notifications, telling everybody to bring them above ground, we put in our plan with the state that as they fail, when they modify or repair, replace, they bring them above ground at that time. Again, we're waiting for them to approve those things, but that's what we gave them as our plan. RP backflow devices are required for connections with pressure sewer pumps. This was not a requirement before. If you want to know why it is now a requirement, ask and I can tell you. A certified cross connection control specialist. We have covered that. Public outreach requires the district to inform the public about dangers of backflow and effect it may have on the public water system. Record keeping must keep records by backflow events that occur. Turning the page. Hazard assessment. The specialist must complete a hazard assessment checklist and survey to determine the degree of hazard and the necessary level of backflow required. This is the first reading of this ordinance. Should the board approve the first reading, this item will return for second reading and adoption at the June 3rd, 2026 regular meeting. Staff recommends McKinneyville Community Service District's Board of Directors review the information provided, take public comment, discuss, ask me a bunch of questions about it, and approve the first reading of ordinance 2026-04 attachment 2 by title only.
Well, thank you. Do you have any questions? Discussion? I was going to say in Rule 707, there's a reference to backflow protective devices must be a USC approved device. I just want to say it's the USC Institute for Backflow Protection or something. They have a big fancy name. It's kind of an offshoot of the engineering department at USC. So yeah. I just when I see USC, I think of the football team, but you know, they have other things they do down there too.
I will state you will see there will be some headaches. There will be some really angry customers. There is an expense to bring up a double check valve above ground. It is where feasible, right? So if it's in your driveway, it can't happen. The problem that we're going to have with customers, and I'm sure you will hear from them, is when we tell somebody with a pressure sewer pump that they have to put in an RP device. And if you don't know, an RP device will reduce your pressure by 16 pounds. So if you live in an area like Sutter Ranch, where the pressure is already lower because you're at a higher elevation and you're running on 40, and your appliances run at 27, 30, whatever to run, and you tell them, hey, you have a pressure sewer pump, you need to put in an RP, and now you just knock their pressure down to 24 pounds. They are then going to need not only that expense, but the expense of installing a pressure water system on their side to boost their water pressure to their house so they can run their appliances. So there are going to be some people that not only are going to take on an expensive, $1,200 to have a plumber put in an RP device in their yard, throwing a guess number out there. But then the cost of putting in a pressure water system is going to way go above that.
Yeah, because when you search, type in the night, on a pump too.
Right. And then they're going to have to regulate the pressure coming out of that. And when they're out of power, they're out of water. And so it's going to be, but it's not something, it's something we have to enforce and we have to do. And so it is going to be something, if all of this that's we're going to hear kickback, it's going to be something like that, because they're going to be like, where do I come up with that money?
Yeah. You want to explain the difference between an RPP and a double check valve?
Double check valve has two check valves at set at different pressure by spring. So one fails, the other one is there to support it until you get there and test it and find out that, hey, that one has failed. You need to repair or replace it. We do not do the repair or replacement. We have the customers do that. We come out and retest it for free one more time, make sure it's passed. On a reduced pressure principal device, RP, the water actually goes through a chamber, through a set spring, and up through a second set spring. If the pressure on the first side on the back side of the number one, but on the street side of the number two, if it increases too much that oversees that 98%, it will dump out the bottom of the valve and dump the water onto the ground. Once you see that, it's a failed device, it needs to be fixed. Because of the two spring pressures and because of the friction loss of the way this thing is designed, that's where you lose your 16 pounds. So the two springs total will reduce it 9 pounds. The friction loss is another 7 pounds. The reason why that's happening is because somebody manufactured a pressure sewer pump that has a water connection tied into it, so that you can actually install hard plumbing into your sewer pump, and it will flush and mix your water, your sewer in your tank before you pump it out. Because of that, could cause siphonation and pull sewer out into the water. Instead of making that manufacturer pull their item from the shelf, they said, well, that's a hazard. We don't know if that's in the ground. We're going to treat everybody the same, and everybody has to have protection. And by the way, the people with a hose spraying it from the top of the ground can easily set their hose in there and leave it running to mix it up, and that would also cause siphonation. So this whole thing caused this regulation to happen, and which is why now it is mandated to get them put in. What we have for timeline is we submitted that in July 25. We've been told that it's taken them 2 years to review, but when they review it, you better be doing what it says in that plan. And the plan is designed per their criteria and their specifications. The only place we deviated from the plan was, instead of saying, everybody replace your check valve, we put in there, as they fail or need to be repaired, we will then enforce them to bring them above ground.
And the RPs already need to be above.
That's a given.
That's
12 inches. Yeah.
Yeah, because they open atmosphere and there's a potential for back siphoning if they open the atmosphere and they're underground and it's the vault's full of water.
Well, there you have it in a nutshell.
Thanks.
And it's been almost, well, it'll be a year in July since they've been reviewing your plan. Have they told you when you're gonna see it?
It will take up to 2 years.
Oh, they said
because you know that interns are reviewing it, and they got a lot of them because they forced everybody to turn a plan in by July, so they have everybody's plan.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yours could have been the first. Ours wasn't. But we have not received a stamp, you passed, everything's great, or a comment saying we want you to modify this.
And we did ours, and we just basically followed the work plan for it and did it per the work plan. So
everything is by the template, other than me allowing that one part.
Yeah, that one part.
but it wasn't very clear to that you couldn't do it that way, so.
Oh, yeah, it's probably gonna cost you between, if your check valve goes gunny up on you. What's a check valve going for? A DCV going for nowadays? Probably it's for.
280,
Well, those are gone
295,
down,
yeah.
So they're cheaper now.
They were 130.
Oh, were they?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're at 280
I thought
now.
they were, oh, okay, that's to get them installed. Back in the old days, it was like 250, 300.
Yeah,
bucks.
for installation.
Yeah, for installation.
Now, if you look at what they're charging,
Oh, yeah, because bringing them up and hard piping them and concreting them in
yeah,
and.
and plumbers in general are increasing their costs. And they know that, City of Arcadia just stopped doing their commercial. They don't test their commercials anymore. And they're saying, find a tester. So testers are popping up and they're charging $300 to customers to test a DCV, and you better do it and have it turned in by your anniversary date to the City of Arcata. So plumbers are now seeing this, when this hits the ground and the plumbers see all the demand. I'm just speaking, but I think we all know the price goes up when the demand goes up.
Yeah. Yeah. And just for a little bit of other context on this, Humboldt Community Services District requires everybody to have a double check valve, regardless of whether they've got a well or some potential backflow.
And then they stop testing them.
Yeah. And then they stop testing them. And so now you got to find a private tester. And now you're going to have to put them, everybody in town is going to have to put them up. Can't wait to see what those meetings are like. I think Dennis got his hand up, Dave.
Oh, go ahead, Dennis.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I put dozens of these in back in the day for 35, 40 bucks. Then the last one I did up the ranch was, I think, around 90, but of course I did all the work myself. So things do go up, but, do we have a protocol to notify everybody that maybe potentially need to do this? I'm just curious about that.
Well, customers get a failure notice when they fail. So in that template, they will get a notice of, hey, number 1 check valve failed, number 2 check valve, by the way, as per title, 17, blah, 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 all the code language, you're required to bring your double check valve above grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they get that.
I can see a lot of people filling their wells that still have wells.
Yeah,
Well,
and that's fine. That's great. And I will tell you this, on the positive side, there's a positive side. People who test DCVs, our staff, would be grateful to not dig out all these boxes every day.
Yeah.
Or every,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say since I used to be a backflow tester. And you get there and you open the box and it's packed solid with gopher dirt and you spend an hour digging out the dirt and cleaning it up so you can test it. It's pretty frustrating. So having them above ground is a big improvement.
Yeah.
And we still are the cheapest to testing. We charge our cost. We don't have the business, from a plumber's overhead or the leeway to name your price, right? Because that's
Right.
what's happening out there. It's sickening, and I'm trying not to get too personal about it, but it is disgusting. We keep our costs down to what our costs are. As our wages and things go up, the equipment costs go up. If we can eliminate digging out that dirt, we can still keep our costs relatively good because we'll spend less time at that unit than it is. You're right. Most of the time there, it's digging out the dirt. The test only takes 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. I probably got, I don't know how many, several of those, but then all the other valves all over the ranch and the other properties, they're always full. So it is a pain in the, what. And anyway, I appreciate that. I wasn't trying to generate more work than we needed. I think I want to think about perhaps some way to pressure this out to our community, maybe through the newspaper or something. Just I'll think about that. I think maybe that's something we may want to consider.
Okay. Well, I was going to say too, recently, my backflow failed at home on the first test from NCSD, and I had to buy a repair kit, which cost $28, and I put in the repair kit and it passed the next time. So it doesn't always have to be super expensive. And, you know, if you have any plumbing skills, you can pretty much put in a repair kit and a backflow device. And all the backflow devices have a manufacturer and a serial number, and you send that into a company, which I can give you their name, and they will send you a rebuild kit for your backflow device. And so that's kind of the cost effective way to do it.
It is, and it's not difficult. You do have to be careful, obviously, as you know, not to get any sediment or debris in there, or you're gonna fail, right? Get a piece of plumber's tape, get a piece of sand, whatever. The part that bothers me, where you see probably my anger at, is like a senior who is on limited income, has a failed DCB, and then they get charged $1,200.
Yeah.
They obviously can't go out there and re-kit their DCB. They can't do that stuff, but it's happening out there.
How many?
Yeah, I appreciate that a lot, that comment a lot. But I just wanted to say, Director Couch, you're bragging. You can get down on your hands and knees and do plumbing.
Well, it took 2 hours for a 15-minute job. There's these little springs that go on. There's like the check valve. It's kind of a little plastic thing with a spring that provides pressure, and then a rubber seat on it. And the rubber seats wear out over time. So the rebuild kits are really just little rubber seats. But I didn't have any trouble getting down, but I kept shooting the springs off into the landscaping. And so most of my time was hunting for the parts that shot away from me.
So how many do you know how many DCBs about do we have now? Because I know
Right now we have either 695 or 795.
Oh, so we still have that many?
I think, yeah, 695 maybe now. We had 795.
Oh, wow.
Or we still have 795 and used to have 813 or something.
Yeah.
like that.
Okay. So there's still that.
We have getting some filled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so now all the people with lift state, with sewer basins and pumps, they're going to have an
Right.
RP
So
now.
hopefully it balances out, right?
Yeah.
Fill your well, because we got 50 more people coming on.
Yeah.
Did you think about a road on, sorry, I'm not trained. I know we all want to go home, but you look at Mason Way, you look at Quell Run Court, you look at all the houses on Cochrane. Every one of those roads are pressure sewers. So it's not a road, it's 10 houses per road. Like there's Sunny Grove. There's a lot of houses with pressure sewers.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm done. That is all. Nothing further.
Well, that was some pretty good conversation. So I'll move E12 per staff recommendation.
I'll
second
second
it.
that.
Oh, go ahead. Dennis got it. Are we ready for roll call?
That's pending, that motion's pending public comment.
Oh, that's right. Well, do we have any public comments? Forgot to ask. Okay, now we can do the roll call.
Director Bender,
Yes.
Director Beitman,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Yes.
Director Orsini,
Yes.
Vice President Couch.
Yes. All right. Well, that was our last new business item. So now we get to go to section F, reports, and we have active committee reports, standing committees. So let's start with Parks and Recreation Committee. Mr. Binder.
Mr. Binder reports that he has nothing further to add to our Parks and Rec Director's report.
Thank you. Audit and Finance Committee. Can I murder your name?
We haven't met since the, yeah. Since the last board meeting. Oh. Do you have any notes? No. Oh, that's right. That was the review. So we did meet with our with bond counsel, our underwriter, and our financial advisor. and went over basically everything that was in item, which item was that today? E2 and E2. And we came up with all the stuff that we went through there. So that's all I've got to report.
The only thing I would add to it is you got my report on that. We were having the discussion on item E2.
All right, thank you. Let's see, Employee Negotiations Committee, we did not meet. In Kinleyville Community Forest Committee,
We met and so let's see, we appointed, we acted on the appointment of Christopher Collier to the seat. He was an alternate, and now he's on there. And I think that was all I wrote down as far as action that happened. We had committee reports from the TICs and from the forest management plan and financing committee. Did I miss anything? Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, we got a chance to see the draft forest management plan. So that's right. That's a big deal. So that'll be coming to the board for approval. And did you say June or July? Oh, they're waiting for you. Oh, that's right. Yeah, they're going to integrate the trails plan with the so that it's part of the forest management plan too. And then it'll be coming to the board.
well, thank you. Let's see. B is Ad Hoc Committees, Cybersecurity Governance Ad Hoc Committee. Any report?
We did not meet.
Thank you. Board liaisons, McKinleyville Area Fund.
We did not meet. However, the fund did hand out several scholarships. The awards haven't been publicized yet, and I don't feel like I should say what happened until they make their own announcement.
Sounds appropriate. Thank you. Redwood Region Economic Development Commission.
I was out of town due to a medical issue. That where Director Mayo was able to attend in my stead or not.
Yes, I was. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Quite well.
I was able to attend, and it was a good meeting. Two things that are of interest, I think, to all of us. One is the HSU Economic Summit that is going to be at the Aquatic Center on June the 3rd. This is quite a big project that they pulled together to do a local and regional economic summit, and they've going to have booths, not booths, but tabling, etc. So I think that's a cool thing, and I've made arrangements to be there. And when they get some info to the general manager, they're supposed to send a little a tickler on that to see if we're interested in participating. It's pretty new, so I'm thinking that if you're interested, we might participate more fully next year.
Thank you. Let's see, McKinleyville Municipal.
Hold on.
Hold on. Sorry.
Are we on?
Yeah, we're on.
Yep.
Okay. So, the next thing is, the not the there's legislation to provide, significant funding to, wind-powered harbor development. And that's good for the whole state. And, the Harbor District at REDEC brought a very well-crafted letter. Greg Dale and our Greg at REDEC put this together. It's really good. And so what the deal is there's a X amount of money significant to provide support for the harbors that are going to do different aspects of developing the harbor to support and enhance wind operations. The amount of money, if it gets splits up, will be ridiculously useless. So the concept throughout the state and the harbors and different political entities is that let's pick out the best project, the most beneficial to a community, economics, et cetera, and give all that money to that harbor. We feel that Humboldt Bay Municipal Humboldt Harbor District, Conservation Harbor District would get the biggest bang out of this money. Now, this isn't to create offshore wind power. This is to upgrade and develop your harbor to be able to support those structures. It was said by many people, and while we were down here in Sacramento, we talked to a lot of people that are in the same process as well. There are many ports in California that this money, if they got it all, would just be a drop in the bucket of what they had to take out of their reserves to do the deal. So that's kind of obscene to me in a way. So we would like you all to look at the letter that REDEC developed and the Harbor District developed. And if you so choose, write a letter of support or rubber stamp this letter and email it to them. We were too late to get this on the agenda tonight. So I think if that's something you all would like to do, I think that would be a good thing. I have already done it. And so anyway, that's my REDEC report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. All right, McKinleyville Municipal Advisory Committee.
I guess this one's on me. We did have our meeting and it was a short one, a lot shorter than we thought. We barely made a quorum. And the highlights of it was John Ford did come in and give the same RENA presentation that he gave our board the month before. And we also discussed the affordable housing ordinances that we might put into play. And the short workshop really didn't turn out to be too much because there wasn't too many people there. I was very surprised at I figured there would be a full house and there wasn't. Anyway, he presented on that briefly. And we did send in that we passed and sent in the draft amendments to the MMAC rules and regulations, which put into our rules and regulations the ability to have 2 high school participants on the committee. We also added the communication and outreach the COC, which they're slating to be me. That language went in there and there was a few minor corrections. The email Instead of emailing the clerk of the board, they'd email the head of the MICMAC for things like public comment. And additionally, they redid a little bit of the language about their appointment of the MICMAC member to the McKinleyville Community Forest Committee. And we had a little Brown Act training by Destiny Valeska, one of the staff councils at county. And that was about it.
Well, thank you. But you're up again for the senior center.
I'm up again for the senior center. Well, as usual, we're doing our best that we can do, sharing and caring like always. Most of our programs are going great. Our exercise programs have been slightly curtailed due to some room rentals, but I haven't heard too much about that from our facilitators, and so I hope that continues to be the case. Our mental health support segments that we've been cutting in each month are well attended and very, very beneficial to those participating. So I'd like to thank Dr. Gina Belton and Dr. Bill Carlson for their help with all three of our programs.
All righty, thank you. So now we have legislative and regulatory reports. Do you have any update? I'm sure, Dennis, do you have? I'm waiting.
I have a few.
We're having a hard time hearing it again.
I will, sorry. So we're all learning continually on this, how to do it better for the public. And I apologize for my laxes, and I wasn't trying to be mean when I was hollering at people to speak up. It's really hard when you can't hear, and I understand that. So let's see here. First of all, tomorrow at Aqua in the morning, we will be entertaining Governor Newsom. He will be our keynote speaker. They just informed us of that. Depending on where you're at and what you think, good, bad, or indifferent, but I'm looking forward to it. And as always, he puts on quite a performance. So, but the Aqua has just made contract with our new executive director, and that is Carla Namath. And Carla has been with Department of Water Resources since 2018. As a matter of fact, she's been with them longer than that, but since 2018, she's ran it. And so that's kind of a head scratcher in some ways to people. The agency and the director that's given us all so much grief is now the director of the agency that's trying to make common sense with the state of California. But I think it's a good thing. And I think she's going to do a really good job. And there's just lots of stuff out here in the water world that is exciting and is going to change. I know it's scary as well. AI, as much as I don't know squat about this stuff, but AI is going to benefit us remarkably on forecasting weather, forecasting rain events, helping us to know when to let water out of controlled reservoirs and not, et cetera. And she's a big part of that, has been a big part of that. And so we're just really, really hoping that great things are going to happen regulatory wise with our agencies. And believe me, our agencies in the last short period of time, their representatives have been coming and talking to our associations and saying things like, our models have been flawed. They have not been working. We have not been recharging our aquifers. All the money and regulations and pressure, and we know more than you, has only resulted in about 7 to 8% of all of that water that they've tried to recharge actually getting to recharge. So I'm really hopeful that her tenure at Aqua will help us really do a better job regulatory wise for all of us. And then lastly, we've been working on the ag bill, and I've been working on that for 18 years, over and over and over. And Senator Boozman, some people say, pronounce, his new chief of staff has been with him for 18 years and someone that I've worked with a lot. So there's a lot of stuff in the ag bill that will benefit McKinleyville, believe it or not, because the ag bill has lots to do with our headwaters forestry plan and our fire suppression. So I think we're moving in the right direction. I'm really happy. Of course, you know, it's still like rolling dice at a casino sometimes. As we all know, with our funding, we didn't, our phase 2 funding, we didn't get. So anyway, that's my report, and thank you.
Thank you.
Vice President Couch.
Yes.
I also have a legislative
Okay.
thing. Assembly Bill 1821 is a amendment to the Public Records Act that is going through committee and coming down the pipe. It is supported by California Municipal Clerks Association as well as CSDA. Currently the Public Records Act allows 10 days for response. There is clarification language in it to turn that into business days versus calendar days, as well as also curtail commercial abuse of the Public Records Act, which we get quite a few data brokers doing Public Records Act to the district. So it would curtail that. So that legislation is coming down the pipe. They're asking for letters of support. I will be bringing that as an item in June, asking for the district to provide a letter of support.
Through the chair, could you ask Joey if he could kind of explain a little bit about the brokering deal, which is a horrible deal. Most of the public doesn't understand what that entails.
I'm sorry, Dennis. I had a hard time hearing that. Could you try one more time?
Yeah, sorry. Are you there?
Yep.
Yes.
That's better.
Okay. I apologize. You know, the brokerage deal on this stuff, most people don't understand what that means. And it's just an abomination. I was wondering if you could just slightly broach that subject a bit.
Yes, so specific to the requests that we receive at the district, we get requests for our vendor payments and records of who we paid, how much we paid them. And then these companies take that information, sell it off, and make money off of selling that data to provide leads and headhunters. Hey, they clearly bought this kind of product. This would be a great contact for you to do a sales call to. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's much more rampant throughout other parts of the state and larger cities. We're really small potatoes in that, but it is a headache for a lot of municipal clerks everywhere. And also an abuse of a law that's supposed to protect the public, not make money off of it.
Thank you, Joey, for that. Thank you, Joey. I appreciate that.
Okay, well, I think we can move on to staff reports now. Maybe getting toward the end here. So Finance and Administration Department.
The only thing I noticed that I didn't have in my staff report was regarding our software implementation. We are full swing starting that. So our chart of account works has begun. And we start with a financial core implementation begin really May 18th. So over from May 18th through probably May of next year, we're going to be very busy with software implementation.
Well, thank you. The operations department? Parks and Recreation?
I do just want to add that we are going to be having a fundraiser next week, Wednesday, May 13th, up at Six Rivers Brewery, where their Pints for Nonprofit night for the BMX park bathrooms. So $1 from every pint sold that day will get donated. And then we are also doing social bingo cards for $25. And complete your card, turn it in, and it will be used as your ticket for, we have 2 raffle items that were donated. A barbecue fire pit that Miller Farms donated for value of like $350, and then a jack set that Ace donated. That's value is like $250. So.
Okay. I saw that barbecue in the office there. It's well worth it. Spending some money on tickets. So let's see what else. General manager, we have any?
I have nothing further to add.
Nothing further to add. And president's report. I don't know. Do I do that or does Dennis do that?
Well, on my end, I think I've reported plenty.
Okay. And let's see, Supervisor Madrone, you're online. Would you like to address us for something?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, I'll be very brief. I just wanted to give you an update on 2 requests that were made of me at the retreat training session you had earlier this year. One of them was to provide a support letter to the HCOG TAC board for McKinleyville Service District's engagement in the TAC. I tried to get it for a voting member, but at this point it's just an advisory member. But that's a step forward. I think you already know about that. Additionally, you made a request that we provide a letter from the county that we would keep the CSD informed of any road work being planned in McKinleyville, and that we would contact you from ground zero before anything gets started. So I believe Pat received a letter from Tom Matson on that. So I just wanted to report that we followed up on both those requests, and that's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And thank you for the action that benefited us. Well, let's see. Board member comments, announcements, report, agenda item, anything, anyone? Okay, seeing none.
Move to adjourn.
I'm gonna adjourn the meeting. We're out of here before 9.
Yeah, 5 minutes left.
All right.
Yeah.
Outside in the parking lot.
Call him on his cell phone tonight after the meeting's over.
Sure, I'll answer. Stop.